Good morning and welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. Coyote in the Highlands is still in the valley. That's why I have a gray cinder block background. It's going to be 105 to 108 today. It's 6:45 in the morning and it's already 90 degrees and it's not summer yet. Summer is still a week away. Wow, and it will get hotter in July and August. So readapting to this is going to be interesting if I decide that we're coming down or if the universe works that way, so that we're coming down for more extended periods of time, because I have work I need to do internally and around me in the universe, and we'll see how the universe treats that. So I got to get to the topic before I hit the 1 minute mark. You've gotten my update. I want to talk about positivity in respect to other people right now. This is sort of an exercise. And yeah, very much sort of an exercise to get you through your day, a habit to build. There's all these little habits, give yourself permission to relax and stuff like that. This one is interpersonal, and it doesn't require that you do anything with another person. We're not at that stage yet where I'm going to ask you to interact in a specific way with total strangers. But so I was at the grocery store the other day on this trip, and I was in line with a checker, okay? There was quite literally 2 people in front of me, so I'm third person in line. There's 7 people behind me after about 7-10 minutes. I didn't start the timer right away, so it said 8 minutes, but I think it was closer to 10. Usually when things start to really bog down, I set a timer just so I know what's going on. And the checker was very friendly and very slow and very chatty and very talkative, and the old lady in line was doing really well. I mean, the checker went a little overboard with that, even with the slow, chatty bit, because she kept distracting the old lady from writing her check. Because the lady who's in a life age where instead of carrying cash, which is unsafe, she carries checks and doesn't use cards, because a lot of people don't trust cards. A lot of people who were around in the 70s, adults in the 70s and early 80s, don't trust credit cards because they were, at one point they were just mailed out en masse to people, and you'd end up with these debts that you hadn't even agreed to, and these fees and stuff, and it was very predatory for a while. So she's using a check, but the checker went a little too far and started interrupting her writing the check, and the lady is in her 80s, possibly very late 70s, but I would guess 80s. Healthy 80s, East Valley, healthy 80s. So that was, that's disturbing, and everything goes on. And then some other check stand cashier, opened up and didn't come grab us. We were in that awkward spot where we're right at the magazine rack, but we haven't unloaded the groceries. So normally what a cashier will do is grab you because you're the first person in line, the next person in line who hasn't unloaded, and take you. And she just waved at everyone and said, "I'm open now." And so of course all 7 people behind me, and there were 7 I counted, left, and they all checked out as well as a couple other people before I even got started with the process of checking out. Now this could be a recipe for huge frustration, but what we're working on here is positivity, and in this case we're dealing with people around you, the people who are in line, the people who are just going, the people who are operating the cash registers. And what we're going to do here is we're going to acknowledge their humanity. You don't have to say that they did the best job or that they did everything perfect. And realistically, you do have to examine your own life and see if this made a huge difference. Are you going to really have a negative impact on this in a week, in 5 years, in 5 hours? Probably not, even in 5 hours. There's nothing really that's that big a deal. I spent an extra 25 minutes in the store, which is kind of, I guess, potentially frustrating if you have to be somewhere. But if I have to be somewhere, I'm not going to go shopping when I know that the store is busy and everything else, because I know these things happen. It's an opportunity to meditate and to look at life and to just examine things and be in the moment and practice awareness exercises. There's lots of things you can do. But what I want to talk about right now is the positivity of acknowledging the humanity of another person. Instead of judging, and saying, oh, you're doing your job so bad, or oh, you're so evil for just jumping the line, or whatever. Just look, let go, release all of that, and acknowledge their humanity. If you have something you need to do, if you need to file a complaint and say, hey, this cashier has really dragged it out and there's a job performance issue, can you do that without an emotional negativity? Okay, because that's what you need to do. You need to get past the emotional negativity. If you need to talk to people who jump the line and say, hey, one of the social things about America that makes things work really well is that we tend to be nice to each other and have a high trust society, and what you've done, jumping the line, is really counterproductive to that. If you can do that in a positive fashion, and I'm not asking you to, that's the interaction part that we're avoiding right now, not there. If you can do that in a positive fashion, then great, by all means. But the negative reaction inside yourself doesn't do anything to them. It doesn't punish them. It doesn't do anything for anyone outside of you. All it does is punish you. So, can you have positivity in these situations? That's a really big deal. That's a really important question. One of the ways that I think you can have positivity, or at least neutrality with positive regard, being neutral about the situation and having positive regard for the people around you, is to acknowledge the humanity of the people around you. Look at the cashier, realize that she has her own life story, she has her own thing. If you do imaginal work, you can imagine her aura and her life history spreading out through time, or whatever works for you in your mind, in your brain. I sometimes imagine people as little kids or high school students or whatever, like all of the stuff that goes on in their lives, or I imagine them going home, or I imagine them enjoying a day at the park. That kind of stuff does help. If you're stuck in your narrative space, your mind is coming up with stories and justifications. Justifications is a big deal. That's basically what a bullshit story is a justification. If you're not just in the moment, that's a good way to tune it and train it and get a positive regard for the person. This is the key, and the whole point of the video is to take the people around you, whether the interaction is negative or positive or neutral or whatever, and grant them their humanity. Have positive regard for them as people, as human beings, as infinite souls. Even if you don't believe in souls, I want you to try this. This is a technique that will increase the positivity inside of you, inside of your mind, inside of your life. I know that for a lot of people, this is something that hurts or is considered bad or evil, or will make you into a sap. If you don't hate people enough, you're in danger of being abused by people. That's not true. You can still have reasonable, rational, safe, whatever reactions or interactions. But all the negative feeling is inside of you and does nothing to them, for anyone. All it does is hurt you. All it does is make your life less clean and clear. So, develop this. You don't have to actually have that feeling of love and that ooh. If you don't got it, you don't got it. If you do, just let it go. Just let it go. Let it be there. What I'm trying to get to is having that positive regard, that acknowledgement of humanity. This is why imaginal work, using your imagination will actually work for this, is that you can just imagine them in a happy time or something. Get out of the negative headspace and the negative feelings. If you can't have positive love, that's great. Positive regard for people, like, yeah, that's a valuable person, like just a general warm feeling of, yeah, I'm glad we're all humans. If you can do that, that's fine. If you can't get emotion, if you can't get a flavor of emotion out of it, positive, then just do the positive story. Do the imagination work, do something, just say something positive. Come up with a positive thing to say about the person or their life or their existence. Even if you don't feel it, just say, that is a sovereign human being with an infinite soul who is every bit as valuable as every other human being on the planet. Just something like that, that'll help. This is positivity. This is an exercise in positivity. And it's a very beginning, basic level, interpersonal exercise. You don't have to confront or talk to or even look in the eye anyone. You just have to give them positive regard. Grant them sanctity, humanity, whatever your description is. Okay? Try this out. Try this out constantly. When you see people, if you can remember, if you tap yourself on the arm, set timers, random timers, whatever it is, remember that the people around you are humans and grant that. Do that. It only takes 2 seconds once you're used to it to actually do this. And if you're stuck in a line for 20 minutes, you've got plenty of time to go through everybody in the store and do this. So just practice. A little bit of practice. That's it. Stay sideways.